Quick video for a Monday night. First of all, if I'm covered in wood chips and sweat because it's like 100% humidity, it's actually raining out. It's sticky, and I was just chainsawing because these storms we keep getting, the wind keeps wreaking havoc on my property here. So I'm out chainsawing trees that got blown over. Anywho, the last of what I was waiting for showed up for today. And I'm going to show you what I kind of changed up on the crankcase vent setup, because I love seeing people get all worked up on how I do things or my thought process behind stuff, but I love trying stuff. But I'll show you what I got going on. Maybe it's overthought, maybe it's too elaborate, maybe it's just me curious about something. We'll see how it works, but I'll show you why I went this route, and we're going to look at data after the fact. So, crankcase vent tank, back on the tail, all set. You saw me do that. Now, I did have this plumbed in to the valve cover. Right there. Big number 10 hose came under here, went down underneath, up to the tank. Now, what I noticed on my day, I'm going to sit down on my stool. See how I'm sitting down? I'm getting old and tired. So, what I had noticed looking at the data logs, since I switched to the valve cover instead of coming off of the top of the like the transmission area crankcase vent cover that they come with, I switched from that to the valve cover, and what I noticed is it dropped on the data logs. It showed less crankcase pressure on a full pass, which is good. That means everything was vented good. The problem I had was that the hose came off the valve cover and it dipped down and then back up. And I was doing some work on the bike, had it running, and I heard something gurgle. And what was going on is the vapor that's actually coming out of the crankcase, the vapor, you get enough of it, it turns into liquid oil. It was settling in that hose and creating like a sump. So when I'd go to make a pass and under full boost and it would see a little bit more crankcase pressure, it was sputtering liquid oil back into that tank. And because of where that hose comes, it was hitting the baffle and splattering up into that first filter. So there was just kind of multiple things going on. And holy crap, I just got dive bombed by a bird. I think he was trying to come in and get a snack. So again, this is me just thinking, out loud. I could totally do something different. I like messing with stuff. You guys should know this by now. So that's why I don't really care if anybody has to say about this, but I'm going to explain to you why I'm doing it. So what I've decided to do is, when I had it on the crankcase vent cover down here, the pressure was a little bit higher on a full pass, but I rarely had anything accumulate into that tank. Not enough that it would soak the filters and start dripping on stuff. So I created another issue by solving one problem when I went from that to that and caused a dip in that line, caused like a sump, blah, blah, blah. What I did here is I'm going to try this out once. So now we're coming off the valve cover. We're coming off the top. We're coming around and down and down and down. I'm running a T off of the crankcase. And then we're coming off that crankcase cover. This is all number 10 stuff, PTFE, hose, whatever. And then they're coming off with a 90 degree there, 90 degree there, 90, oops, look at the wood chips. And then we're coming back up to the tail. What I'm trying to create is the most free-flowing crankcase vent setup while still letting residual, anything that builds up in the lines that turns to, like starts accumulating to turn into like a liquid, and liquid or oil vapor it turns into a liquid. It can now all drain, it all comes downhill back to that crankcase vent. And I'm not worried about, moisture, condensation, whatever, draining back into the motor. We're just trying to keep oil vapor that turns to oil, liquid oil. I want it to just drain back into the bike or into the motor, because I can drain this now. So as this kind of, fills up with any kind of, moisture, oil, whatever, I can actually still drain that. As opposed to before, where it had to accumulate to a certain height to be able to drain it. Now that's got a sump and I can drain it after every pass. If I need to, I should say. In a perfect world, I won't have to touch or do anything until like the following day after a race. We'll go through and just do like post-race maintenance. We'll crack the drain and see what we caught. But that's just kind of my method to my madness here. I'm trying to just come up with something different, for the crankcase vent setup, because this is the stuff I like playing with, because I actually have data to look at to see if it's making a difference. And like I said, the data log's showing very minimal crankcase pressure, but it is still there is still vapor that that comes out of the engine, and I'm trying to control what that does and not cause a problem between rounds or whatever at the track where that actually soaked the filter and had a little drippy drip. But yeah, so this is just a quick video for what I was doing on a Monday holiday waiting for my Amazon delivery. So yeah, now we're gonna get everything buttoned back up and get ready for War in the Woods. And now this is where everybody chimes in and says all they got is a filter sitting off the top of their crankcase, and they got a catch can here, and they use a swing arm for that. And not to be a dick, because there's a lot of cool people that watch this stuff, but I don't care what anybody else is doing. I like trying shit on my own. And there's a very good chance that this might still get changed up. Maybe at some point I'll put a tank somewhere else. Bottom line is crankcase has got to be vented, and my data is showing I got minimal pressure. I just got to control the vapor. That's about it. See you later.